Linux and how these operating systems are differ from each other and how we do audit on that and how we can harden that systems. We talk about these topics today. So everybody knows that what is the history of the Windows, and it is founded in April 4th, 1975 by Bill Gates and Paul Allen, and Bill Gates is the chairman of the Microsoft Windows. And originally it has team of 11 members. They created Microsoft Windows. It is not a GUI versions were created in the first time. It was a DOS based operating system. Earlier it was a DOS based. There are number of desktop versions are available from that earlier times to these days. These days we are working with the Windows 10. It's having both GUI version as well as the command line interface is also there. We can use both as well. There are number of versions they have created, that Windows 3.0 and Windows NT, that is a new technology, name as a NT as a new technology. And after that, they have created Windows 95, Windows 7 is there, Windows 8 is there, Windows 8.1 is there. Somehow, there are some other versions are also there, which are not released. That you must know the name of the Windows Longhorn was there, but they're not released. They released as the Windows 7, the name as the Windows 7. These days, we are working the updated version of Windows 10. These are the Windows Server versions. These days, the updated version is Windows 2019, 2016 is the earlier version, 2012 is the R2, is one of the version of them we are using as the data center or a standard edition for the servers of our machines or our servers. This is the Windows operating system timelines. You must know that Windows is having used on the different types of the hardware. The Intel, it can installed on the Intel processor. It can be used on the AMD processor as well, and it also works on some mobile phones also. But having the mobile phone version operating system is also available for Windows operating system. Nokia is launched Windows operating system on their mobiles. Windows Server is there. Windows desktop versions are there. There are number of versions of Windows are available these days. You can install it on your personal system. You can install on your laptop. Depend upon your server requirements. You can create a server of the Windows Server and use the services which you want to use that. So from 1982 to 2021, there are lots and lots of versions they have generated and they have published universally. Windows NT is the new technology operating system file system that is released in 1993. It is a 32-bit version Windows and name taken from the Intel i860. Code name is N10. N10 is also will talk ask you that the new technology. NT is expanded to new technology for marketing. This is a version of the Windows. Windows NT editions are there. Server edition is there. Workstation edition is there. Server Enterprise edition is there. Terminal server is there. Embedded server is there. Windows 2000 editions are Professional Server, Advanced Server, Data Center Server, Advanced Data Center Servers. These are the editions of the 2000 servers. These are the editions of Windows 2003. As we know that Windows is a closed system. Closed system means that you cannot change the files of the operating system. You just get the DVD or operating system from the Microsoft, and you need to create a bootable CD or a USB, and you can install it. And you need authentication certificate. You cannot pirate it. If you want to get the new security features and new updates from the Microsoft Windows, you need to get a genuine Windows operating system. Here are the additions of 2003, that standard enterprise, data center, web, storage, small business, and compute cluster. These are the different 2003 operating systems additions. These are the Windows 2008 additions, that foundation, standard, enterprise, data center, web server, HPC server, and Itanium based systems. These days we are working on server 2019. This is the addition comparison. What are the difference between these additions? What is the foundation addition? Why it's called the data center? Why it's called a web server addition? Actually, it is a features of the additions. What kind of features it's having? If you're having the maximum RAM, they require the RAM is a 32-bit or 64-bit. It's required that 4 GBs to 32 GBs of RAM. Hot swappable of a CPU and a RAM is possible or not? It is only possible in the data center additions. Hot swappable of RAM and the CPU means you can change the processor when the system is running. You do not need to shut down the system first, and you need to change the server, that CPU and the RAM. That is a hot swap RAM. Cluster, you can create it or not. You can use the terminal server or not. You can use the multi users or not. It is depend upon the addition of you are using. In the desktop version, you cannot use the multi users. Only one single user can log into your Windows machine. Windows Server 2019 is the latest version of the Windows Server operating system by Microsoft as a part of Windows NT family of operating systems. Developed concurrently with the Windows 10th version, it succeeds Windows Server 2016, announced on March 20, 2018, and being officially released on public to the October 2, 2018. Start date of the Windows 2019 server is November 13, 2018. They are maintaining the stream support until January 9, 2024 before releasing another new version of the server, and extended support up to January 9, 2029. In some servers, they having stopped the support for the Windows 2008 server, but some in the some organization, they are running still the 2008 server. They are not providing their support and not the upgradation packages and not the security patches for that server. You can check the Windows comparison on the Wikipedia and Microsoft website itself. If I'll talk about now the Linux operating system, Linux operating system having the different flavors of operating systems, like Ubuntu is there, Mandriva is there, Fedora is there, CentOS is there, Red Hat is there. These operating systems are freely available on internet. You can download the Linux machine, Linux operating system, and burn it on a USB, and you can directly install on your machine as a base machine, as a server machine, or as a virtual machine. Any kind of machine you can create it. Ubuntu is one of them. Red Hat is support is paid, but the CentOS version is freely available. You can download it and create your basic servers that can fulfill your requirements of your organization. You can create a mail server from that. You can create as a desktop version of the CentOS or Ubuntu. The process of installation is little bit different from a Windows operating system. As we know that a Windows operating system is little bit easy to install, but the Linux, it has some different partition cycles are there. You need to create a partition for a root user, that is a /root. You need to create the partition for a local user that are existed that will create on your server, that is a /home. It depends upon your requirements of the server. But if we talk about the Windows, the basic structure of the Windows is a C drive, and it creates the document and setting folder, it creates the program and file folder, and it's also create a folder of that called Windows. It having all the configuration files into the Windows folder existing with the system32 folder. Every log file, every configuration of your server is written in the Windows directory. Similar to that, Linux also has its own file structure. Like // is its basic root directory of your operating system. Everything will be stored under / directory. Everything, whether it's your configuration file, whether it's of a user file, whether it's of any type of your server configuration, your log file will be stored under your / directory. That is a /. The / is the difference in Windows and the Linux. In the Windows, if you open the command line and you find that there will be a not a /, it will be always a / to write down the local path of your Windows machine. If you talk about the Linux machine, it always use a /. I will show you where you can see that these things, these are the minimal things you must know that about the Windows and the Linux. This is the Ubuntu file structure. /bin is for the binary applications. Most of the executable files are there. You can say also say that the programs or scripts which are executed in the Ubuntu system, those are placed in a /bin directory. This is the bin directory that can be accessed by a local user as well as the root user. Root user is the super admin or administrator of your Linux machine. This is the file structure not only for the Ubuntu machine. Every Linux, whether it's of a Kali Linux, whether it's of a Red Hat, CentOS, Fedora, all of these use these kind of structures. The name of the file can be changed. And somehow, when Ubuntu, the network configuration file is different. If we check in CentOS, the configuration file is different, but directories are same. If I talk about the /bin directory always have its executable files which can be accessed by a local user or a limited user and super user, that is a root user. /boot directory has the information of your boot loaders. If you have the dual boot of your machine, that you have a Windows machine as well as the Linux machine on the same hardware, that information is stored in /boot directory. /boot/grub. Grub which having the information of your bootloader. /dev is the information about your devices. Everything of the devices can be displayed in a /dev. Every configuration file of your Linux machine is stored in a /etc directory. Whether it's of your keyboard configuration file, whether it's of your network configuration file, whether it's of your server, mail server, any DNS server, all configuration files are stored in /etc directory. You can see that their / is a /. Every structure in the Linux is started with the / that is a /. This is not the root. Root is a different directory, that is /root. /etc.rc.d. This is a directory which has the shell scripts which are running at the boot level of your system Linux machine. Linux machine has different run levels, that is a 0 to 6. Run levels means that whenever you power on your machine, which run level or which kind of environment you will get to your operating system. The run levels are different, that 0 to 6, 0 is a shutdown, 6 is a reboot, and 1 is that is a single user mode, that is also called as a troubleshooter mode. If in the configuration file of rc.d directory, it's having the init tab file, which is having the default information of your boot level, run level. Whenever you power on your machine, which run level will be executed. If it's stated that in the configuration file that run level is 1, that means you can access the file system without knowing the password of the root user of your operating system. That is a troubleshoot mode of your Linux machine. But to access that file, a limited user cannot use that file, or cannot having the permission to modify that file. A root user can only have the access of that file. /home directory contains all the local users and its files and directories. Every user which is created under the operating system, that is Ubuntu operating system or any kind of Linux flavor, that /home directory will having all the information about, I'm not saying that information about the user, it will contains the data of your users. If you want to check out the information about the users, it will be contained in a /etc directory. The password file is there. It will let you know that which user is created and the information of that user. And the passwords are stored in the different files. The format of the password that is storing in the /etc/shadow file is, but it is not saving as a clear text. It is saved as the encryption method, using the encryption method, that is MD5 encryption method. They store the password. You can open, if you are a root user, you can open that file, but you cannot see the passwords in the clear text. Limited user doesn't have the access of that file also. /lib directory having the system libraries /media is a directory which is using for the plug and play devices, which is a storage. If you connect a pen drive or a flash drive to your system, it will automatically mounted in /media. Mounted means if you have a mount point, then also you can access that device. Like in Windows, if I am running a Windows operating system and I plug in my pen drive into my system, and I will look into that drive into my computer folder. If you don't have that point, you cannot access that pen drive from your system. It is just connected to your system, but it is not having any point to access, to read the data, to copy the data, to write the data. You must require a mount point to access that device. Similarly, in the Windows, in the Linux, the /media directory will help you to access that device. /media is a basically device for automatic mount point, which is created by the system. You can also create any mount point with the command line. You need to execute a command. You can mount any device to any folder or any directory for your system. /MNT is a mounted file system. Like if a system is booted and operating system Linux is running, and you want to access that, or you want to check that which which device is mounted at which point, you can just check with the command mount. /opt is a optional directory that is used for the third party tools installation. /sbin is similar to the /bin directories, but it having some more features than the /bin directory, which can only accessed by a root user or a user which having the privileges of the root, which can be work as a root user. But a limited user cannot access these directories and these shell scripts. /sys contains the information about the system. /temp is a temporary folder which is having the files for the internet surfing and all the files of your system, temporary files. /var maintains the logs of your system. It is a directory. /var is a log directory, but into that directory it has a different file structure. A different log is saved in a different file. It means if you want to try to log in remotely to your Linux machine, and it's save the log into another file, and if you are accessing a Apache web server, that log will saved in another file. Every file of a log is a different. But if you want to check the normal logs of your system, you can use /var/log/messages directory. This is some features of Ubuntu machine, how you can assign IP to the client, log in as a root, click on the network connection. On the taskbar, click on the edit connection. You can see there's a taskbar in the top right. Here is the two arrows, there's a one up arrow and another is a down arrow. You just right click on that. You can click on the option edit connection. You will find this kind of dialog box and you can change the IP address of that machine. Both versions, if you are work with the Linux GUI version or you are working with the command line interface, both will be changed at the same time. Both will affect at the same time. This is a particular method how you can use this. Go to the select the edit option, go to the IPv4 setting tab, select the manual from the drop down if you want to add your IP address manually, or you can use a DHCP also. This method is little bit different if from Linux to Linux. If you set as the IP address and you set the manual IP, check for the manual IP. But in the Red Hat and the CentOS version, you need to also modify that network file to on the boot on the network at the booting time of your system. By default, on boot, that service of a network is off. You need to make that on. But in Ubuntu, it will automatically on when your system will be on. Or you can use the chkconfig command to enable that service also. Click on the add option, assign IP address, netmask, gateway, and a DNS server of your information, and click on the save. And you need to restart the service to take effect of that machine. This is a dialog box. You need to just click on the IPv4. You need to click on the add, then IP address, net mask, and the gateway of your server or your desktop machine. And for the DNS server, you need to provide the DNS information for that. Next, before going to next, let me show you what is the difference between both Linux and the Windows operating system. This is the basic difference for the Windows and Linux operating system. Windows is having the DOS prompt, Linux having the bash shell. These days, Windows 10 also having the PowerShell. You can execute the commands like you are executing the commands in the Linux also. MS Office is there. MS Office is a paid application utility of the Microsoft, and Open Office is a free service, free utility. You can download it, you can install it, you can use it, similar like your Microsoft Office. Firefox and Chrome browser are there. By default, Iceweasel and Chromium is installed in a Linux machine. You can install the Mozilla Firefox also. Drive structure is C, D, and E. If you worked on the Windows, it's always having the drives like C drive, D drive, E drive, F drive. In the Windows, basically, operating system is installed in a C drive. A and B drives are already assigned for your zip drive and the floppy drive. That C drive will create program files folder, program and files folder, desktop and setting folder, Windows folder, and any default folder when you installed the Windows machine. Like on the other hand, in the Linux, they create a root structure that is started with the slash. As we discussed, it will create a /dev, /bin, /home, different kinds of that folders into it. In the Windows, if you want to close an unexpectedly program, you just press Ctrl Alt Delete and it will pop up the task manager. But in the Linux, you need to execute a kill command. Kill command to end that process. If you want to kill any process that is not behaving properly, you need to kill that process. You need to execute that command. Kill with the PID. PID is the process ID of that program. And the top is similar like the task manager, but top is a command line interface. Task manager is a GUI interface. In the top command, you can change the priority of any process. That is called the renice. That is called the renice or renice value of your any process. Notepad is a utility which is pre-installed in the Windows machine. They're having the gedit, vi, and the vim editor. Both are the command line interfaces. Gedit is a graphical interface which is used as a Notepad utility in the Windows. exe file structure is there. Executable file structure is there. Perl, Python scripts can be executed in the Linux. Format is a command which is used to create a partition of disk into the Windows. MKFS to making a file system. That is a command used to create a file system in the Linux. Find command is used in the Windows. Grep command is used for filtering from data from one to another. The firewall which is installed is called the firewall in the Windows, and SE Linux, security enhanced Linux option, that is working beyond the firewall, that is SE Linux. It's having some policies, ACLs, which is already created. You need to manage it. In the Windows, if you are a limited user and if you want to run a program with the privileges of an administrator, you just need to right click that program and find the run as administrator option to execute that command, that program with the privileges of administrator. It is similar in the Linux, that sudo, that is super user, can do. A limited user can use that option to execute that program like a root user can do. Both are kind of similar, both are GUI and CLI versions are there. One more difference is there, that is Windows is using a backward slash and Linux is using a forward slash in this in their file structures. Got back to the Linux commands. ls command is used to check the listing of the files and directories of that present folder, and you can use the path of that directory. If you execute ls, it will show you the files and directories of your present working directory. And if you write a path after that, it will let you know the structure of that directory. It's having different kind of switches. ls having different kind of switches. If you want to check the size of the folder, size of the files, whether it's a directory, whether it's a file, you need to add a switch after that ls command. ls-a will let you know everything, will let you know the size of the file, will let you know the owners of that file, who is the owner, who is the group belongs to that. Everything will let you know in ls-a. This is ls command. This is only listing the files and directories present in the directory from where you executed the command. If you execute ls-a, it will let you know the details of that files and directories. How many links are there, what is the size of that file and or a directory, and who is the owner, what are the permissions of that file or a directory, who can read it, who can write it, everything will be shown. cd command is a change directory command. That command will allows you to change the directory. It means you can switch the directory from one directory to another directory. Like you want to check the data of right now you are existing in a /etc directory and you want to switch into another directory, that is a /temp. You just execute the command cd/temp, cd space/temp. It will switch to the /temp directory. See in the example, like cd with the folder name, that is documents. So it will, when we press the enter, it will go into the /documents folder. pwd command is a present working directory, that is a path of your existing terminal and existing path of your directory. It also can say that it is your dot directory. It is a path of your dot directory. The symbol pound before the pwd or any other command, there are two types of symbol. One is a pound and another is a dollar. If you are having a pound symbol, it means you having the privileges of a root user. And if you having a dollar symbol here, it means you are logged in as a limited user. You don't have access of that sbin directory. Only root user can have the access of that sbin directory, or a user which having the privileges of the sudo can access that sbin directory. Command followed with the sudo, sudo with the command and with the path of that command. mkdir command make directory command to create and make the directories anywhere in your system. If you having the permissions to create that directory, if you having the right permission of that directory, will allows you to create the directory /mkdir with a path name. If you want to create a structure of a folder into folder, like suppose I want to create a folder 6 name as a 6 and it will contain a 5 folder, the path, like I want to create it, I want to create 1 number folder, inside there will be 2 number folder, inside 2 there will be a 3, inside 3 there will be a 4, and inside 4 there 5 and 6 as well. Then mkdir command will not work. You need to write a switch for that. That is -p. mkdir -p with the path of that directory. -p means you need to create the parent as well child. If one will be not there, 2 will be not there, it will be automatically created by single command. No need to execute the number of commands like mkdir 1, then change directory to 1, then mkdir 2, then again change directory to 2. That means you can skip all the things and you can just mkdir-p with the path of that directory. You can create it. rmdir is removing the directory. rmdir only work if your directory having no data. If it's having a data, you need to forcefully delete that directory if you want to delete that directory. The switch you need to change, add it. rmdir with -f forcefully, then the directory name. Okay. This is a syntax of removing the directory. That is rmdir tayyib. I want to delete that directory, and whenever I check the listing, the tayyib directory will be deleted. rm command is used to delete a file from your system. rm with the file name. If you want to delete a directory with the rm command, it's also possible. rm-rf with the directory name. It will recursively, forcefully delete all the data and directory as well. And keep in your mind, whenever you delete any file in the Linux, it might not be recoverable. If you delete in a GUI, then it will go to the data recycle bin. Otherwise, it will be deleted. It will be permanently deleted from your system. This is a syntax of rm command. rm with the directory name and or a file name, that is PDF file name, you need to delete it. Move command is works with two ways. One is a rename and another is moving a file or a directory. Like you want to rename a file or a directory, then your control will be in the same directory. That means your present working directory and the renaming directory will be same at that execution of that mv command. Mv command, if the path of a directory is different, then it will work as moving the data from one path to another path. This is the syntax of mv command. Mv with the file name and the path. Man command. Man command is a manual for every command. There are another options to check what is the syntax of the command, or what is the what this command will do, how the format of that command, how I can execute that command. You can use the man pages also. You can use info command also to check the commands, how that command work, what is the benefit of the command. But you must know the command name. Like suppose here it is man rm, it will show the manual pages of a rm command with switches. Which switch you can use for what kind of execution, what kind of output you will get. That is manual pages. Info command also can use, but there's a little bit of a difference in the man and the info. The writing format is little bit different. CP command is used for copying files from one place to another. CP, the file name with the same path I'm using here, it means it will create a copy of that file in the same present working directory. If the path is different, then it will copy the file with the same name. This is the format of the copy command CP with the file is pptx, and it will named as Tayyab. One more thing, you find there is a backslash after Linus backslash space ppt.pptx. I told you that Linux is not using the backslash format. It's using always a forward slash. But that forward slash is used in the directory structure. That backward slash is used for using the space of the name of the file. It means the Linus space ppt.pptx is a file name, and for system to read that space, I need to use a backslash for that before the space of that name. Shutdown command is used to power off your system, shut down your system. It is the command to execute from the terminal. That is init 0. Init 0, as we talked earlier, that is a run level. If you want to switch to the run level, that init command will help you. Init 0 means the system will change the run level to the 0, that is a shutdown. If I write here init 6, it means it will change the run level of your system to reboot mode. The system will be rebooted. Okay, or either you can use the reboot command also to reboot your machine. Init 6 command, as we talked, init 6 for the restart. Add user command is used for adding a new user into your Linux machine. You can use the command or you can add users with the GUI mode also. User add and add user both will work. With the execution of the command is like add user with the name of the user you want to create it. It's also having some switches. If you want to create its home directory, automatically it will be created by the system itself. But if you want to allocate any particular directory to your system, to the user, you can add the path of that directory also. That user can log into your machine, or whether it's only a web user, you can make them configure. Like this. User add, add user, and with the name of the user is there. Password command. Password command is used to change the password of that user in which you are logged in right now. The root user, if you log in as a root user, you can change any password of your limited user. But if you are a limited user, you don't have the access of same. You can change the password only if you know the existed password. Otherwise, that password only can be changed by the root user. This is the format of your password command. ifconfig command will let you know the information of your IP. It will not let you know the information of your DNS. It's only show the information of the gateway, your net mask, your IP address, your MAC address of every NIC. Whether you are connected with the LAN cable, whether you are connected with the wireless network, it shows the IP information. But if you are working with the GUI, you can execute that method from the right click to that and check the information for that. For checking the DNS, you need to execute another file. You can check from the another file, that is resolve.conf file is there in the /etc. It will show you the information of your DNS. But ifconfig not show the information about your DNS structure, DNS IP address. This is a syntax, this is the output of ifconfig command. ENP0S3 is my LAN network, and it shows the IP address, it shows the broadcast address, it shows the MAC address that is named as a hardware address, HWADDR. And loopback address is also there, LO, with the name of LO. For the references, you can use the geeks.org, that path you can use it. Let me open now the basic commands of the Linux machine so we can talk it. Let me open it. This is a user of Decrypt Info. This is a limited user. Let me close this. Let me open it again. You can open the terminal from the right click on the desktop and open in the terminal, or also you can find here. Just type terminal. When it open the terminal, it will, when I execute pwd command, it shows the path of that user. It means whatever it will create, that file or a directory will create under this directory only, /home directory, and the grep info folder will be there. I can show you in the GUI also. If you go to the home directory, that will be placed in you will find a home directory here, and if you open that home directory, you will find a user directory here. That is, user is a dgrep info. I created a dgrep info user here. Let me create a new user add, like suppose I execute the command, but I don't have the permission to add a user because I am not a root user. I am a limited user. I don't have the access of /sbin directory. That sbin directory contains the user add command into it. First of all, I need to switch to my root user. You can see the difference in both. Here, my screen is visible to all now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So you can see the difference. Here is a dollar symbol. Dollar symbol means you are a limited user. Whenever you log into a user, it will let you know what kind of permissions you having with your user. If you log in with the root user, you can execute the same command. Like suppose user add with the name, suppose Dave, and if I go to that directory, that home directory, again, sorry, I think I need it, not using a user add user with the Dave, it's already existed. I need to create a directory for that. User mod -d. Okay. So again, if I'll check here, it's not creating. Let me do the user add command again. It's not working with the add user. Suppose test I'll create. So password it's giving to test123. Full name, like suppose test. Room number is 123. Work phone is 1234. Yes, and it will create it. Now, if I want to execute that change directory command, I will execute cd/home and ls. It shows that it's having two directories, ls-a. It shows all directories which is contained in that present working directory. The difference in ls and lsa, it's showing that dot and dot dot, these are the hidden files or hidden directories of every file structure in the Linux. Every directory which is created in the Linux machine, it's always have a dot directory and a dot dot directory. Dot directory having the information of the present directory, and dot dot directory having the information of its parent directory. Like suppose I using the present working directory here, and right now it's showing that my present working directory is /home, and if I execute cd dot, it will not change anything. It means it will change directly to its parent directory where it is right now. And if you execute pwd again, it's showing the same output, that is /home. And if I execute cd /dot dot, it means it will come out of your home directory and it will go to the / directory. And if you execute pwd here, you will find that it is a parent directory of the home directory. This is the main directory of your Linux machine. If I execute ls command here, it shows whole structure of your Linux machine. Every directory will be contained in a / directory. If I execute ls-a, it's also have both directories, that is dot and dot dot also there. But nothing above the /, that /. It's all, everything will be contained in / directory, whether you are created in another device or with another partition, but it will show in a / directory always. And if I execute ls-l, it shows the details, or you can say the listing of the directory. On the right hand side, it shows whether it's a file or a directory. On the left side, it shows the permissions of that file or a directory. In the starting, if it's written as a D, it means it is a directory, and L means it's a link file, and if nothing is written here, it means it is a file. It is an ordinary file. It's having the data into it. Directory having the files or directory both into it. You cannot cd to a file. You cannot execute the command cd for a file. You can execute a cd command to change the directory for the directory only. Clear command is used to clear the screen. Here, as we talked, how you can make the IP setting. You just click on that, go to the setting, there's the setting icon, you can select it, then select is IPv4. It's right now on the automatic DHCP option. You can make it as a manual. That option will be open. You just add the IP address. Like suppose I'm adding the C class network IP, suppose 1.2. Netmask will be 255.255.0. Suppose gateway is 192.168.1.1, and DNS is like suppose 192.168.1.10. I'm just giving a random IP. Just make it apply. Just make a disconnect and connect again. Close it. Open the terminal. execute the command ifconfig again, you will find that the IP address that you changed, it shows here. If you not make that off and on at the connection time, it will be not reflected. Either you can use with the GUI or you can execute the command. Command is service networking restart. It will help you to refresh the settings of the IP address that you changed. Okay, so in ifconfig command, it doesn't show the information of the DNS, the main name systems. That will contain an etc file, that is result.conf. I told you. At the end, it shows that the name server option. That name server will information of your DNS machine, DNS server. We discussed the command is mv. mv command can be used, I told you, as a two ways. One is for moving the data and another is for renaming the names of the file. So let me give you an example right now. Let me create a file. You can create an empty file with the command touch. I created a file test1. You can see that there's a file is a test1. First, before executing the mv command, let me execute the cp command so I can make a copy from that test with the same folder with another name, that is old test, and I also want to make a copy of test file to temp directory with the name move test. So if you execute ls command here, it shows that there are two files now. Oh, sorry, there's a file old test is there, which is created from the test1. Right now, these both files are empty files because I created an empty file, nothing is into it. If the data will be there, it will copy the data also. And if you want to check, the slash temp is also created that move test. You just execute that ls command, or you can execute cd command to temp and then execute the ls command. Both are same. See, move test is also there. Fine, this is a benefit of a cp command. If you opt for the same path, it will create a same file with another name. And if you use another path, it will copy that file to another path. You can also use that cp slash, cp, the file name is a test1, and you want to just copy into that folder without changing the name. You can execute like this also. Now, in the temp folder, you check there are two files. One is move test is also there, and test1 is also copied here. Fine. That command cp can be used for these things. So now if I execute the move command here, mv with the test1 to another name, like suppose test data in the similar directory, it's executed. Now I check the test1 file is not there, but test1 data file is there. It means it is renamed the file. And if I execute mv command with the path, like I'm mentioning the path with the temp, I'm using this directory. You can use any directory of that, but you must aware that if you make the changes into any file structure, what will the effect of the operating system? Or first of all, you make the backup of that file and then you make the changes. If I execute this command and execute ls again, it shows that test data file is moved. Where it moved? /temp directory. If I open to the /temp directory, we can find here that test data file is there. Okay, this is there are number of commands available in Ubuntu, and or you can say that in the Linux. Just you want to check it, there are number of commands. See, with the B, just press the tab, it will let you know that which commands are available with the alphabet B. B with the tab. That man command will let you know the information or manual pages of your command. Man with the command name. ls list directory contents. Before hardening or before auditing a system, you must know the file structure of Linux machine as well as the Windows machine. What is the benefit of the Windows machine? What are the pitfalls of the Linux machine? How they can vulnerable, how it can be exploit to that system. You must know the file structure. If you're exploiting any system for your learning purposes, but after exploit, what you can do with that system, you must aware about the structure of your Linux machine as well as your Windows machine. If you don't know where the passwords are saved, where the details of the users are saved, the hacking is not a benefit for that. To came out of the man page, just press Q for quitting. And if I want to check /sbin directory, see, these are the system shell scripts. It can only executed by a root user. And if I open the command prompt in the Windows, let me show you the difference in both. Here, you can find that there is a backward slash is used in a C after C prompt. It is a basic difference of a Linux structure and a Windows structure. Backward slash is showing the path of your local system. It means C drive is there, which having a users folder. In the user folder, there is a CDAC folder is there. If I execute cd ... it will came to the parent and again to the directory. This is a basic structure of Windows machine. It using a backward slash. Here in the Linux, they are using the forward slash. Every path will start from the forward slash. Like suppose I am in /home directory in a user, and let me clear it. And if I execute ls here and I go to desktop folder, but you find that I didn't wrote here that forward slash. I didn't write here. Forward slash is not there. But if you check the path right now, it automatically generate to the forward slash. The path will be slash home slash username slash its path, like desktop. Whatever I'll make the change here, it will affect here on the desktop of that user. If I create a directory mkdir, suppose name is a raw directory, it will create it. If I execute the present working directory here, see the always path will start from forward slash home username and the path. This is a structure. If I want to check that Windows structure, you can check the C drive, and this is the data. Basic structure of the Windows. Program files is there, program files x86 will be there, users will be there, Windows data will be there. If I install any third-party tool like XAMPP is there installed in this machine, that XAMPP directory is there. But always that system will be created with the basic structure always. If you want to check what are the devices connected and what type of partitions are created on the Windows on the Linux machine, you just execute the mount command. As we talked, that mount command will let you know that which device is mounted on which mount point. It will showing that, see, let me give you example with the slash directory, that is your main directory of your system. The device name is /dev/sdf5. SDF5 means you having a SATA disk drive connected to your system, and its fifth partition is of slash, means it's mounted on slash, which is the fifth partition of your device, and it's having the ext4 format. That Linux is always read the ext format. That is a predefined format for your Linux machine. ext. It can be ext3, it can be ext4, it can be ext2. It also reads NTFS format. It also reads FAT69 format, FAT16 format, FAT32 format, and also read XFS. All systems, all format can be read by your Linux machine, that Ubuntu machine. If I talk about the Ubuntu, if I talk about the CentOS, by default NTFS is not supported by the CentOS machine. You can use the third-party tools to access that device. You can read that device. But by default, Windows machine cannot read the ext4 files, ext format of that files. And if you want to make the dual boot of your system, you always create, that is into the best practice. That best practice saying that always install the Windows first, then after install the Linux if you want to make the dual boot. Because if you are working with the MBR, master boot record, and a GRUB, that is Grand Unified Bootloader, MBR will always take over the GRUB. But if you install the Linux machine, after installation of the Windows, that GRUB will helps you to maintain both information of your operating system, that is MBR, as well as the bootloader of the Linux. Earlier, the bootloader of the Linux is called the Linux loader, that is Lilo, and these days they are using the Grub 2, the version of another version of the Grub, that is a version 2. It's having the different, some little different policies than the Grub. Now, let me show you some more commands. The command is there. Let me show you the rmdir command. That suppose I have a raw directory and it is right now empty directory. Let me go into that directory and let me create a structure hyphen with the p 1/2/3. I created 3 directories into it. You can check it. 1 is there. If you go into the CD to the 1, the 2 will be there. Let me go to the back to its parent directory, and if I execute ls right now, raw directory is there. And if I execute rm, not rm, rmdir command with the directory name, it's showing that failed to remove because directory is not empty. As we discussed, that rmdir command only execute whenever it doesn't have any data into it. But I want to remove that forcefully, then I can execute rm command with switch rm-rf with the directory name. Now, what will happen? It will automatically create its child directory and also the files which are contained into this system. Let me execute it. See, ls, the raw directory is deleted. It's also deleted on the desktop also. Okay. So now let me show you the last thing before going for the lunch, that is your run levels. Not there. As I told you that there are different files named as different files in Ubuntu and in the Linux. If you are working with the Red Hat and CentOS, the file path is /etc/anytab. But if you are working in Ubuntu, the file path is different. Let me check here. Here you can execute run level command. This command is letting you know that its run level is 5. It means it using that run level that is of X11 mode, that is a GUI mode. And if you want to change that file, or you can modify the run level, it is in the init directory, but the file is different. It's rc hyphen It's not showing there in it. The, path is not different. Its path is different from. Okay, I'll check it and let you know. But if you are working in a Red Hat and in the Fedora version, its file is init tab. From that, you can modify your run level. It means whenever you power on your machine, which run level will be executed. Never set your run level to the 0 and the 6. It means your system will be go to the loop, and whenever its run level is 0, it will automatically shut down. And if the run level is 6, it will automatically reboot after on the system, after booting on the system. So right now we can take a lunch break, and after lunch break, I will let you know how you can audit and how you can harden your system. Hello.
हाँ. Hello. Thank you, sir.